Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. This is Vdiffuser in our last episode. Oh boy. We tried to get somewhere with Gant, and it didn't work. It's very clear there's something fishy with him. Are you up for the trial tomorrow? First last year's trial and now this one. It seems all you do is worry about me. To be honest, you're getting on my nerves. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, you can't walk out on a trial. Tomorrow's the last day. It's too late to change prosecutors. I'll bet that's why my superiors are banking on. I never thought that case would come back to haunt me like this. What do you mean? The list of evidence. It seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. It's only half as long as most lists. That's odd. After Neil Marshall was murdered, I became prosecutor for that case. I may not have been part of the investigation, but I knew what I had to do. Use the evidence I was given to prove the suspect guilty. That was really the only thing on my mind at the time. We just saw a picture taken around that time. Could you tell us what happened that day? The day Detective Goodman was murdered. You were participating in a ceremony over at the station, right? I've never cared for ceremonies. I had to attend that one. 'Cause you were awarded this. Those receiving awards can't skip out on the ceremony. I finished up at the office that morning and then drove over to the police office. You finished up at the office? Yes, just odds and ends, clerical stuff. I didn't plan on returning to the office that day. Until I was asked to take something back. This. Oh yeah, Chief Gann asked you to hold on to that, didn't he? Yes, it was a piece of evidence in a case that was closed half a year ago. He asked me to bring it back to the prosecutor's office. That's the story we heard yesterday. So you came back here to the prosecutor's office because the chief asked you to. That's right. I believe this was on Damon Gant's thing. Neil Marshall. He just started making a name for himself. Looks like this was taken when he received the King of Prosecutors trophy. Yeah, your trophy doesn't look like that. It's a little different than yours. You're right, I remember now. That was what the official trophy looked like 2 years ago. There's a story behind its design. It's simple, really. Contradiction. That's what the award's based off of. This award originates from an ancient Chinese tale. I almost wonder if this is real or not. In China, the word contradiction is written with two-letter characters. The first means halberd, and the second means shield. Have you heard this story? Everyone knows that. Why don't you tell it, though, for Emma's sake? Very well. Long ago in the kingdom of Chu, there was an arms merchant. One day he presented the king with two items. The first was a halberd he claimed could slice through any shield or armor. The second was a shield he claimed could withstand any weapon. Wait a minute. Those claims contradict each other. Very perceptive. But then again, you've heard this story before, right? As you mentioned, the very description of these items discredit them both. When the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless. And thus the Chinese word for contradiction was born. Can someone actually tell me if that's actually true? So the chipped shield and the broken knife represent precisely so. They symbolize the merchant's items. The ancient tale ends with the merchant at a loss for words. But it's our nature to pursue matters to their conclusion, even if it results in something as ugly as this. Wow. Thanks, Mr. Edgeworth. I learned something new today. That's funny. If that's so, why were you only given a shield? You'd have to ask Chief Gant. 2 years ago, he had the halberd part of the ward abolished. Chief Gant, huh? I think that's about all we can do right now. Excuse me. There she is. Would either of you care for a quarter pound of roast beef? Miss Starr! I guess she's out of lunches. Certainly are a curious sort, aren't you? Kind of like the first person who sucked a cow's nipple to discover milk. Okay, then. I never thought you'd be digging up that case from 2 years ago. That should have been the last lunch. Aren't you forgetting something? You know that little scene I happened to witness? No matter how much of the past you dig up, it won't change what I saw. Roast beef is meant to be savored when eaten. His hatred toward Lana. It all dates back to 2 years ago. There it is! Lunchbox Specialist, one of the single hardest achievements to get in this game. Check out every lunchbox Angel Star has to offer. Joe Dark, that's a name I'll not soon forget. We trailed him for half a year. Oh, the pressure. Still, I don't think I was even more alive than I was then. Those days were steamier than a hot bowl of hot gravy. Poor old Marshall, though. He must have been going through hell. You mean because of his brother's death? They were close, those two. After Neil died, something took over Jake. He became obsessed. Seeing Jake like that made her all the more desperate. Her? Lana Skye. The best of the best were put on that SL9 case. Of course they were led by the legendary duo. Lana and Gant. That legendary pair was the reason we were able to keep up our investigation. That's why we were so shocked over how it turned out. With the forging of evidence? Don't get me wrong, Joe Dark got what he deserved. It was obvious the evidence produced in court was being manipulated. Items our team never found would suddenly appear, while other items were kept secret. But you don't have proof anything illegal was done. I'm proof enough of what happened. After that case, all of us save Goodman were relieved of our duties, without even so much as an explanation. Then Lana Skye transferred to prosecutor's office and became chief prosecutor. She always wanted to be a prosecutor. Nothing's quite as simple as it appears. Huh? Lana Skye was being used as a pawn. That's my take on the matter. She was being used? Damon Gant and Lana Skye. Gant led the investigation with Lana second in command. They were the best. Were they now? Gant's magnetism in particular was almost unreal. His magnetism? I mean his ability to attract evidence. He produced the most incredible evidence in the cases he handled. It's likely Gant's been forging evidence for a long time. There were rumors about him even back then. No one dared confront him, though. Back then, everyone looked up to Lana. All the detectives wanted to be like her. Myself included. I was a fool, really. She hated anything crooked, but always watched out for the other detectives. That's why she was so concerned for Jake. When Jake's brother was murdered, she felt as if she'd lost her own brother. If it wasn't for her, I don't think Jake would ever have recovered from his shock. That's what makes it all the more infuriating. That's why I'll never be able to forgive her. Why did she have to turn so cold after that? It's clear that Gant's got something on her. That's right. Having solved the SL9 case, his position as chief was secured. There's only one thing left for him to control, and then no one could stand in his way. The prosecutor's office. That's why Lana was transferred. If he could control the chief prosecutor, he could control the prosecutor's office. That must have been his goal all along. How could he control Lana? I don't know, but one thing's for sure. Ever since that case ended, she's never been the same. It's only logical to conclude there must have been a reason for her change. She's being blackmailed. Thank you, Miss Starr. You listen to me, rookie. It takes more than just ingredients to create fine cuisine. I hope you turn out to be a better chef than I've been. With that, we got one trophy left to go, and that is just to get to the bottom of this. You're back. You still here? Gotta make 150 copies of these files. Brewing coffee, copying files. I'm turning into a regular DJ. Hey, it's MC Gumshoe. Means desk jockey. Oh, that DJ. Gotta admire your persistency, but my answer's still no. I'm not letting you into the chief's office, period. I'd be my neck on the line. That's the last crime seen in the SL9 incident. I have to take a look in there. We know what to do. What's this crumpled up piece of paper? No way! Mr. Edgeworth can't be serious! Is he ever not serious? I can't believe they pushed him this far. Mr. Edgeworth really feels responsible. When I first met him, I thought he was as cold as ice too. But I know different now. He trusted us detectives to provide him with sound evidence. We betrayed him. Detective. That's it, I made up my mind. But, here, take my ID card. You can't do that if someone found out. They wouldn't let you off the hook with another lost item report. Look at me. It's no secret I'm already out of the loop. I'm friends with Edgeworth. Depending on how this case turns out, I may be already as good as terminated. At least let me do this for Mr. Edgeworth's sake. Thank you. Here goes, Mr. Wright. We're in. Anyone finds us now, Detective Gumshoe's a goner. That happens, I'm counting on you to bail me out. Ah! Yeah! Sorry, I thought you were a ghost. I didn't even know you could slap a ghost. Detective Gumshoe, what are you doing sneaking up on us like that? I wasn't sneaking, I was worried something might go wrong. So I came too. You're here, what's the point in giving us your ID card? Crushed and rendered unusable in pocket. Don't do that to my card! I hardly ever get a chance to come in here, so I figured I'd have a look around myself. Besides, we're all in this together now. You really do want to get fired, don't you? And not if we're lucky. Come on, let's see what we can find out. Got a bad feeling about this. Let's see what we can do. Don't it? That's gonna be a thing, isn't it? Oh? This area must have been covered in blood. It's from that incident? It must be. 2 years have passed, so the reaction's kind of dull. Fancy schmancy. The chief doesn't care for imitations. First the pipe organ, now this armor. You know how many taxpayer dollars must have gone in this room? We're paying for this? That's it, I'm not paying 1 cent of my taxes. You don't have to pay taxes to pay. Shh, careful what you say. Who knows? The chief may be hiding around in his armor as we speak. I don't think he'd fit. Even if he did, he'd never be able to get back out. Cut it out. You guys don't know how scary that guy can be. Alrighty. Alright. Let's see what he's reading. It's a list of evidence. It's SL9. It's... No. They're twice as long. He's got the other part of the evidence list. The chief is hiding something about the case. It would appear so. Alrighty. I think I know what this is. You know what it is? I have a hunch. You want to try my birth date? It's... No! I have a better idea. Here goes nothing. It's all 7s, which means that ID card is Gant's. Bingo. Whose birthday was that, pal? 7777, the final ID card on that record. The number of the mysterious executive officer who entered the room that day. That's Gant. Anyone care to look inside? How much does he have stashed away? It's a... shard from a broken cup. It's handprint. And a piece and a shard. They look like pieces of evidence. Unless you can prove they have something to do with the case, I'm afraid he can't just let you take them. It's my neck on the line here. Okay. Now that you mention it, it's ringing lots of bells. Let's see if it fits. Well, would you look at that? He willingly and knowingly hid a piece of this jar in his safe. He concealed a piece of evidence from the SL9 incident. Get a load of this! It's different from the others. There's a reddish line on it. That's blood. We're talking about that cloth we found in the safe. Come on. Where's your sense of humor? Now's really not the time. Uh-oh. Oh dear Lord. How can this be? What are Emma's fingerprints doing here? The prints are too old. They aren't clear enough to get a match. That's too bad. I thought they'd be Dark's prints. Psst. Hey, you over there. What's going on? What are the kids' prints doing inside the chief's safe? Don't ask me. Let's keep this information from Emma for now. Maybe you should hold on to this. Alrighty, we got that out of the way. This is entirely Gant's office now. A very strict policy of preserving the crime scene. He leaves it as a warning to everyone else. He wants us to always be alert. Vidal saw himself at our New Year's party. He was pretty intoxicated at the time. And the cleaning lady who's here each morning. You only came here to look around because it's one of the SL9's crime scenes. It's your only reason for coming here. It wouldn't be. Nah, there's no way. Never mind. Don't worry about it. You don't worry about it. You're supposed to start bothering you, pal. You don't just let it go at that. You two don't think Chief Gant might be a suspect. I think there's more than likely that he's a suspect. Chief Gant. So it's finally come to this. What do I think of him? Perhaps it's best I don't divulge my feelings yet. There you go, ignoring me again. Well, was I any help? Of course. Thanks to your ID, we were able to get some hard evidence. Now that's not very kind, is it? In other words, if it wasn't for his ID card, he would have been useless. Isn't that right, you in the coat? Uh-oh. Ah! Chief Gant! We didn't think you'd be back so soon. Fortunately, I'm a man who believes in signs. As I was walking to my meeting, I happened to look out a window and saw a stray dog run right into a pole. Just then I thought of a certain detective. You mean me, sir? Now then, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you all to leave. Yes, sir. Sorry. Oh, you in the coat. Me, sir? Drop off your ID on the way out here. You won't be needing it anymore. But, sir... Now get out. Yes, sir. We'll be on our way too, then. Wait, you the one without the spiky hair. Don't go yet. Me, sir? I'd like a word with you. But I'm not a licensed scientific investigator yet. You, with the spiky hair, you're free to go. Mr. Wright! Look, pal, if I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. The chief's office is off limits. But no, you just had to go sneaking in there like that, didn't you? You helped us! I thought you said you didn't care anymore if you were fired. Yeah, but if I knew it'd be like this, I never would have said it! Now that I've seen the evidence Chief Gant was hiding in his office, I think I'm finally starting to get the picture. Why is she kept eerily silent about it all this time? You listen to me? I'm gonna try to smooth things over with the chief again. Later, pal. After that, I heard from Emma. She said the police wanted to ask her some questions, so she'll be busy for the rest of the day. So the chief asked Emma to come in for questioning. It's no use thinking about it. Tomorrow's the final day in court. I'm committing to doing everything I can to defend you, which is why I'm here. I believe I've already told you all I can. What you've told me over these past few days is absolutely nothing. Not a single useful thing. Really, I believe I did mention something quite important. I told you right at the beginning. I said I was the one who stabbed Goodman. I think I finally figured it out. I know what it is, who it is that's lurking behind your words. Mia did a good job mentoring you. I'm rather jealous. It seems Edgeworth was right. Edgeworth? Once you're convinced you know something, no one can persuade you otherwise. Thick-headed is the term he used, I believe. Now's my chance to get her to tell me the rest of the story. I have to admit I was more than a little perplexed at first. You insisted you did it, yet there was no incriminating evidence. That's when it hit me. It's not that you're unwilling to tell the truth. It's that you're incapable of doing so because of a certain individual. What an intriguing notion. A certain individual, you say. So you think I'm protecting this person? Protecting? No. I think afraid of is more like it. If I'm not mistaken, the person in question may have persuaded you to silence. For argument's sake, Mr. Wright, whom, may I ask, is this person you're speaking of? The one I am afraid of? No question, it's Damon Gant. Well, Miss Skye? Mr. Wright, you are addressing the chief prosecutor. Do not forget your place. She's still not ready to spill the beans. Could you please tell me a bit more about what you think you know? Damon Gant. We were partners until 2 years ago. I respected him as a detective. Assuming he is respectable, then tell me something. Why would he try to hide his crimes? His crimes? Both you and Edgeworth will be brought before a board of inquiry for what you did. Specifically, hiding and forging evidence. These are serious offenses. Why is it, though, that Chief Gant's name was never mentioned? Chief Gant? Edgeworth didn't know the truth behind the forgery. The only party who could have possibly tampered with the evidence was me. I had access because I was second in command of that investigation. But also one other, Damon Gant. If you intend to accuse Chief Gant, you'll need more than just words. Show me proof that Gant falsified evidence in that case. I just found this in a safe in the chief's office. This jar piece and this piece of cloth. You know what these are? They're pieces of evidence from the SL9 incident. The person concealing evidence was none other than Chief Gant himself. Now tell me, why are you taking the blame for him? Touché, Mr. Wright. It's as you surmised. I can't disobey the Chief's orders, even if it means being found guilty for murder. Why not? Come, Mr. Wright, you can't possibly expect me to be able to tell you that. 3 days ago, I had no choice but to cooperate in the murder of Detective Goodman. Or perhaps I should say, follow orders. That's more accurate than cooperate. Although I can't tell you the details, I can say I was given an order that day. I needed to dispose of Bruce Goodman's body. You'll find it inside the trunk of Miles Edgeworth's car. Just as I suspected, despite what everyone believes, you were not the one who murdered Detective Goodman. Correct. I was trying to take the body out of Edgeworth's car. The trunk's lock was broken, and I discovered that the murder weapon while inspecting the body. The murder weapon? You mean Edgeworth's knife? No, when I found the body, this was the knife stuck in it. The knife from the SL9 incident? Oh boy! I couldn't just leave that knife in him, so I took it out and stabbed him with another knife. Edgeworth's knife. Even though he was already dead, my hands were shaking at the thought of stabbing him. That's why I ended up cutting my hand. And that's the reason for the bandage on your right hand. It seems that I got blood on the victim's shoes as well. And then, she saw me just as I plunged the knife in. Miss Starr, huh? Why did you need to hide Joe Dark's knife so badly? It took a lot of work to finally close the Dark case 2 years ago. It was over with. I didn't ever want it to be opened again. My intent was to prevent that by whatever means possible. So you hid the knife. The weapon used to stab the detective was the evidence in the Joe Dark case. If word got out, which it would, the reporters would have a field day with it. So you wrapped the knife in your scarf and hid it, in Edgeworth's exhaust pipe. Then I called my sister to tell her what happened and ask her to hide the knife that was inside my muffler. I didn't want anyone on the force to know about this. That would explain why Emma is so confident about Lana's innocence. Speaking of phone calls, I had a bad feeling about one of them that day. The truth is, after I received those orders from Gant, the first thing I did was make a phone call. To Patrolman Jake Marshall. What would you call him for? The lead investigator for SL9 had been murdered. I wanted that fact to be kept hidden, and I needed help. He was the only other person I could trust. At least I thought I could trust him at the time. It seemed that after I spoke to him, he went off on an escapade on his own. Not wanting the case to die, he took things into his own hands. Yep, he did all that. Oh boy. After my phone call, any remaining doubts he had must have disappeared. So your phone call caused the incident in the evidence room. I'm afraid that's all I can tell you. But Lana, you've earned my respect, Mr. Wright, both as a defense attorney and an investigator. Now please, don't pursue this any further in court tomorrow. Tomorrow's trial, the only way to drive off Lana's demons. I gotta get to the bottom of everything. Detective Goodman's real murderer. And what went down in the chief's office 2 years ago. And that's really all that can come of that. final day. I'll do that in the next episode. See you guys then.
Have no doubt, I'm in control. You may think chasing ghosts is